freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. The only way they can inherit the freedom we have known is if we fight for it, protect it, defend it, and then hand it to them with the well-taught lessons of how they in their lifetime must do the same. And if you and I don't do this, then you and I may well spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it once was like in America when men were free.
Hey everybody, welcome to the 2023 SHOT Show in fabulous Las Vegas. I, of course, am the host of GunFreedomRadio, and I am excited to catch up with Monte Keith. He is the Pacific Regional Director for Gun Owners of America, GOA, and I did have to practice that off air, so whew, I did it.
She nailed it.
Thank you. So, Monte.
Yeah.
Pacific Regional Director.
Yes,
that sounds lovely, right?
Well, I have Arizona that's lovely.
That's true, our home state of Arizona.
Yes, and I'm actually from Arizona, so, now you'll notice the Tennessee, I've been in Tennessee for a while too.
A little accent there, I think it suits him.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I do have a lot of states with a lot of fights on their hands. I've got, Washington, Oregon, Nevada, I've got New Mexico, which New Mexico is bringing in a lot of gun control. I just got alerted the last couple of days that they're fixing to do the assault weapons ban. We all know what happened in Illinois, so we know that our big blue states are going to try to do whatever they can to stop, our constitutional rights. We know that. And Washington has swung for the fences on what they're introducing. They're banning over 65 rifles and forms of, and even to the part of high, their so-called high-capacity magazines, even going into the fixed magazines on rifles. So they've got a long list of gun control that they're going to try to implement.
And so we need to be in the fight. We need Gun Owners of America. We need Monte in the fight. But we need you listening and watching. We need your voice. We need your involvement. And I think that is where, we really need to help people understand. Yeah. This never should have been a spectator sport.
No.
But we cannot afford for it to be a spectator sport anymore.
If people, and I've talked and I've had some good conversations with people, and they're like, well, we're going to lose anyways. That's no mentality anybody ever stayed in a free country if we really look at it. If you're not acting and this bothers you, then be part of the fight, which we have to bring. Because we know the anti-gun left, they fight tooth and nail. Oh. They're all on the same agenda. Yeah. They stay for the 100-year program they have, which is to disarm America and violate every constitutional right. They think it needs to be rewrote. And I've always said it needs to be reread and taught more than rewrote, because it's such a perfect form. Yes. But if we don't stand and fight, and by calling legislators, getting involved, supporting people like GOA, we're out there fighting. We have lawsuits in all the hard places. Mm-hmm. We don't just fight gun control in the red states. Arizona is a relatively safe state.
And that's dangerous.
It's dangerous.
Because people sit back on their laurels.
And they don't stand.
And and they feel like, oh, we're safe because we're Texas, we're Arizona, we're whatever, right?
Absolutely.
And that is exactly that same mentality, without saying it out loud, is, well, we're going to lose anyway. You're not thinking it, but if you're sitting back and not actively understanding that the other side is not taking any naps.
Correct.
Right? And we've been napping really for too long and relying on like the AZCDL, which I'm on the board of, and I'm proud to be, and we do good work. But again, it has to be a member-driven effort.
Yes. The biggest thing that I would tell people is your red states aren't 100% secure.
No.
Because what people don't realize, if we sit down and we sleep and we just wait for things to happen and we're not proactive, we're reactive, what ends up happening is they chip away.
Yes,
and they'll hide. Let me tell you something. The anti-gun left will hide gun control in the weirdest bills you've ever seen.
You're exactly right.
In New Mexico, they introduced bans, magazine bans in safety acts, which you would think by reading the title it was maybe for highway safety or something like that, but then you start getting into it and they call it under their public safety. So they hide this stuff even in the red states, hoping that it doesn't get caught. And people are always like, well, a lot of people are waking up. They're like, what can we do? Join organizations. Join your state organizations. If you live in Arizona, find the Arizona state, organization. Back those people.
Yes.
I'm in contact with them. They get with me. I get with my Arizona state director, and we start putting out national stuff, state stuff, because that's the thing with GOA. We're completely 50 states.
Yes.
We're national, but we also work on those state and local areas.
Yes.
Because you can't just wake up one day and say, oh, I want to make a change, I'm going to vote for president. You've got to start from the bottoms. You've got to start in school boards. You've got to start, and you have to work those angles, because those are the people that end up moving up and becoming leaders.
Exactly.
And
And they start in places like you say, school board, where they don't have to declare what
Yes.
party they're affiliated with and
Correct.
that sort of thing, and then they just start moving up through the ranks and bringing their ideology with them.
Yeah, and we also have to look at it too. A lot of the left side, the anti-gun side, the radical left,
Yeah.
they have an agenda and they back each other.
Yes.
We have to worry about what, on the conservative side, we have to worry about what party is on their side
Yes.
versus the true ones that believe in our Constitution.
True.
And so our fight isn't just with them, it's with the people. I mean, everybody calls them rhinos,
Yeah.
but it's the ones that doesn't have our best interest, which is our Constitution.
Yeah.
And that terrifies me because I have grandkids. I have, I want my grandkids to grow up in a free country, and I think every single person out here does.
Absolutely.
I mean, our freedom, our country. Why do you think so many people come here?
Exactly.
Yeah, but we're going to turn around and give that up. And we've also seen the countries. You can look back, people, it does not lie. If you look back at a place like Venezuela, once you disarm the citizens, they have no right and no power. You can go back to the early times when the Chinese emperor said, the reason we don't invade the U.S. is because there's a gun behind every blade of grass.
Right.
And that's what holds us secure.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right. And what the GOA does is you do have kind of at least two-pronged, if not more, attack on this. So you do go and do legislative issues and file lawsuits.
Absolutely.
But then you have the members and outreach to the members to have their voices heard,
Yes.
to kill the bills so that we don't need lawsuits.
Yeah, and see,
right?
that's what I try to explain to people why, like when you join GOA, and here's the thing, it's not that bad. It's $25 a year.
Right.
So,
Right.
we do a couple
It's
less
practically
cappuccinos
free.
and hit some black coffee every once in a while, you're good.
That's true.
But that enables us to file these lawsuits. But the thing is, you get on our alert system.
Yes.
So when a bill comes into your state and we send out an alert, then you get notified to call your representative and put the pressure and the heat on them. It's confrontational politics. That's what we're based on, because if we don't get confrontational, they'll do whatever they want. And what's happened is the politicians have forgot they work for us.
We forgot
Yeah, and
that
we
they
have,
work
absolutely.
for us.
You know what? That's even better.
Right? We treat them like they're rock stars.
And they're not. They're employees of the people.
Thank you.
And if they don't do what we ask, they need to go out.
Exactly.
I was reading where, I won't get into names, but I was reading where one had lied about everything of what he did, and I'm like, well, that should be automatic taking out of his position because he lied. That's what happened. If I lied,
Right.
my boss would get rid of me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's like we've lost touch of what the reality part of it is. But we have to hold them accountable, and that's what we do at GOA. We don't budge, we don't compromise on our Second Amendment, and we know that our Second Amendment is what gives us all our other amendments, because they'll take our freedom of speech.
It's the or else.
Yes, ma'am.
It is the or
Absolutely.
else. And, I love that you brought up the no compromise thing, because, I've heard people say, oh, the GOA, they're that no compromise group. Like it's a bad thing.
No, we're the pit bulls of the Second Amendment.
Thank
We
you.
plan to stay that way.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You see where compromise has brought us,
Yes.
right? When our country was founded, constitutional carry was everywhere.
Yeah,
Right?
everybody
It was
carried.
just the way it was, because it was normal to own guns, to put food on the table, and to keep predators, four-legged and two, away
Absolutely.
from your door.
And sometimes
right?
the two-legged ones are the ones that are most threatening.
Exactly.
Yep.
And then somehow through compromise and incrementalism, let's look at what's happened to Washington, to Oregon, to Hawaii. I mean,
Yeah.
Hawaii maybe was different because it's an island nation
Yeah.
originally, But some of these states where you're like, the biggest gun shows used to be in the state of California.
Yeah.
They used to have manufacturing in California.
Yes, ma'am.
And now look at it, it is the bastion of anti-freedom.
Yeah, and the thing is that a lot of these other blue states, it's almost like they're one-upping gun control. But here is the ironic part of all this, is when you talked about the U.S. used to be a constitutional carry where people carried guns everywhere. It didn't matter where it was. Now, I guarantee you, most people won't walk through Portland, Oregon, or Seattle, Washington at 12 o'clock at night and feel safe because of the fact they can't carry a weapon or a specific type of weapon. So we've went backwards with gun control. I spent 30 years in law enforcement. I retired as a police officer, and I can tell you right now, number one, I've never arrested a law-abiding citizen. And I always like to laugh about that because I've had encounters with people with the big bag, ugly AR-15 gun that's dangerous. I've had people with pistols. Good people don't do anything wrong.
Exactly.
But every criminal I've ever came encounter with, their firearms were either stolen, purchased illegally, tampered with, or so they're not going to follow the rules.
Or used for the wrong
Correct.
things, right?
Well, gun control only hurts me and you.
Right.
It doesn't hurt the criminal because they don't follow laws to begin with. That's why it's called a criminal, And that's what's so funny is people they just don't adapt to common sense.
Well, and I've even, because there are so many places, and our show is nationwide, where the laws are what's wrong, right?
Yes, correct.
And so I've even stopped using the term law-abiding citizen.
Yeah.
I've started saying responsibly armed citizen.
Yeah,
Right? Because
absolutely.
it's about our behavior and we don't hear often enough that over 2.5 million times every year, it is well documented that responsibly armed citizens have saved lives and stopped crimes.
You'll never hear it.
By their presence.
Yes.
Right? Whether
Yes.
they've used the firearm or just their presence.
I could sit here and I could tell you actual things that happen, facts. That's what we call facts in the media thing, But where private citizens have used their gun to save countless of many lives, not just males, females,
Yes.
all ages,
Yes.
elderly, younger. Because they were there and they were armed and they stopped a mass chaos. The problem is that the radical left, they want us because it's a control measure.
Yes. It
And-
isn't about the gun, it's about
It's about
control.
control because they don't care. They want to make sure that we don't have the ability to protect ourselves. And our forefathers said those 27 words of beautiful freedom shall not be infringed. And I tell people all the time, we pass billions of dollars of relief to other countries in a day.
Right.
But yet our forefathers took over a week on the word infringed because it was that important. So, now is the time to be active, stand up with these organizations, and fight for our freedoms because we can't give in. We can't say, oh, we're never going to win. We have to say, you know what? Let's do the 100-year plan they have, and let's continue this and fight because our other generations, we don't want to have to.
Absolutely, and we do have some powerful organizations like the GOA in this battle. Like we even have to be careful now with PC language to not say fight and battle because they'll say we're inciting violence. But
I know.
in this conversation to support and defend individual liberties, that's what it's about.
Absolutely.
Individual liberties. And so if we don't have their back, they can't have our back.
Yeah.
So that's what the membership portion is all about. And just as we start wrapping up, I'm helping organize the big 10th anniversary Celebrate and Protect the Second Amendment rally on the the lawn of the Arizona State Capitol on Saturday, February 18th, 2023 from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And what organization is coming along to set up a booth?
We are definitely going to be there.
And Monte's going to be there, and Antonia Okafor is with your organization, with Empowered. She's going to be there.
She is a powerful spokesperson for us.
And a good friend.
I'm going to
I love
have
her.
Arizona. I'm going to have my new state director, Cynthia Ladd. She is a rock star there, and she is going to represent GOA for the state of Arizona incredibly. She is such a talented intelligent person. So you definitely got to come out and meet her. Me, I'm just going to be the grunt that puts up the tent for everybody. But yeah, a lot of exciting things coming.
It really is, and you can get a chance to actually talk to Monte, talk to Antonia, talk to Cynthia Ladd about your concerns, about what's coming down the pike, and about what can I really do as a citizen to have my voice heard and to be a part of this conversation. Don't miss that opportunity. Monte, tell folks how they can become a member of
Absolutely.
GOA.
You can go to gunowners.org, and we have a wonderful website. And it's like I tell people, when you're joining an organization, do your vetting. You can look at all our stuff on there. You can look at our victories. You can look at the lawsuits that we have right now. Everywhere from bump stocks, we're fixing to be in a fight of our life because a lot of us under the new ATF ruling on pistol braces are now felons, right? So we know that fight's coming. We're prepared for that fight because we think it's going to fall under the same things as bump stocks because that ruling has been won.
Right.
And, that's the biggest thing is that we're fighting the hard fights and we're not going to stop. But we need you guys to join us to make I always tell people, make our voice bigger. Make our voice bigger for you guys. So,
exactly.
The bigger our voice is, the more of you all that's on our team, we can move mountains.
Amen.
I'm a firm believer.
Amen. And some of the states in your Pacific region.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Those are
I'm going to have to move a lot of mountains. I'm going to have a lot of heavy shoulders for this.
Absolutely. Monte, thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you. The pleasure was all mine.
And spending some time with us here today.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Stick around. Lots more coming up from fabulous Las Vegas on Gun Freedom Radio.